We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you another episode of We Can Help with Dave and Woody, already in progress.
It's in progress.
Always in progress.
Hey, I got a little special treat tonight.
Well, hold on.
Okay,
That's
go ahead.
you do now understand how E equals MC squared.
Hold on. What?
You understand why E equals MC squared?
I don't fully understand it, but I've always kind of.
So the last 20 minutes was for nothing. All
No, no,
right.
no. You got to give me a chance to say this. What you did was help me with some clarity. Um, I don't know that you really understand it either. But anyway, speaking of that,
You know, Einstein had a promising volleyball career until he twisted his ankle.
we need to talk to
and
Dr.
fo-
Stephen
and
about
and
that
folk and focus on
because
it
Dr.
turned his
Stephen
focus
knew
to science.
Dr. Stephen knew Einstein. All right, so this is a frosty chilled pint glass. Hold it in front of my head from
Yeah,
the
I see
Sigma
it.
Chi 50th anniversary. See that?
Yeah. If you're watching on YouTube, which I subscribe,
And I don't know if we're getting in trouble for this. I don't really don't care.
who
But
cares?
per your advice, this is a funny. That's not a funny story. It's kind of a story. But
Well,
I was at Winn Dixie the other day, and I think I sent you and a couple other people the
oh, you
same
said other
text.
people. It wasn't just me. Okay.
Yeah. So oh, I said I was bored, and I
That
took.
didn't come through, by the way.
Oh, figures. And I took a picture of the beer aisle, and let's see if I can do this. Uh, the
But
lighting.
you know how to put a good head on it, right?
That's what she said. Anyway, so you said get some beer, pills, something. What'd you say? Something
I
local?
said go local. I said local brews because, I'm back to my keeping it in the USA, alcohol's money in the USA.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then I said local IPA
That's kind
as
of a lot ahead there, Dave.
yeah, I know. Well, you like a lot of head on your
Okay.
beer.
I think that's a dead horse. We kicking that. No, it's shaping up nicely now. Hold on. So you said get something local, and the problem with our worldwide podcast is that's better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that local doesn't this is a beer
Did
by
you
the
lick some of that head off?
way. No. I don't do that on TV. This is a brewery called Bold City Brewery out of Jacksonville, Florida. And this particular bill beer, this is my second one. It's
Yeah.
called Killer Whale Cream Ale. And
I
then
don't know
yours,
what a cream ale is.
well, I thought it was kind of cream soda. I don't know. Maybe a couple of our friends can weigh in. It was shaping up real nice now. Look at that. Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Anyway, hold on.
I had a beer last night.
Hmm. So I don't drink beer that much anymore because I can't stand the hoppiness.
Well, that's what IPAs are, but if you go with a Northeast IPA, this is what I've learned over the last during
What is IPA?
Indian Pale Ale.
I thought it was International Baccalaureate. No, that's I.
No, no, that's a B, Dave. Good thing you're not teaching. It was
Midsummer.
it. So here's my rationale behind it all. When I first started, I didn't really get into drinking beer until maybe the last 10 years. I always had beer, but I never really cared what I drank. And when IPA started getting popular, I didn't like them. Like you said, they were very hoppy and they were hard to
Okay,
drink,
when I say hoppy, what does that mean to you?
bitter.
Oh, I'm talking about it makes me bloat, gassy.
Oh, well, that's
Maybe that's not
carbonation,
hoppy.
Dave. It's called carbonation.
Well,
So
go ahead.
the quick and also so I'm like so I drank pilsners and lagers, and then as I thought about making beer and I found out it's very hard to make a lager or a pilsner because you have to keep bringing it, you have to be very exact with your temperatures and bringing the temperature down as the fermentation process is taking place, so it can get very difficult where an IPA,
Especially if you're
uh
doing it in your toilet.
yes, that's gin, Dave, with the botanicals in the turlet.
Toilet.
Um,
So the IPA, what?
IPA is basically, I think you keep it right around 60 degrees throughout the
All
fermentation.
right, that's a little.
It's a much easier thing to
All right,
make.
you're losing the audience. That's a lot of science mumbo jumbo. So, let me give this the critique of this. So, I unfortunately I have to admit I've been a Bud Light drinker before the incident. I was pretty much a Bud Light drinker, and I told you on the show that I drank a lot of Carlsberg lager when I was in London. And this is a little Haley. This is a little. It's not very dark.
No,
Um,
it's light. It makes me think it's a Northeastern IPA.
well, and it's almost like a shandy. A shandy was a lager with citrus in it.
Leidenkugel or something like that makes them.
Well, it's
And I
big in
like
England too.
their summer shandy is pretty good.
Oops, sorry. Anyways,
Yeah,
um,
I guess
but
it's hoppy.
but this is very light. It one of the reviews said it would be good on a hot summer day, which it's
Hmm.
been hot and it is summer.
Not
And
yet. I think we got another week.
so I was thinking, let me just give you this recap. Shut up a minute while I'm still sober. Um, I was thinking about my daughter. My daughter's 22 years old, and they've been drinking, this White Claw nonsense. What was that stuff?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, it's horrible. That seltzer stuff.
yeah.
And so I thought about
Goes
her.
down like water though.
I don't know, but I said she might like this. It's very light. Um, it's refreshing. It's not too carbonated, even though I just belched. And then I drank one 2 nights ago, and I was like, man, there's no kick at all to this thing. What is this? But it's 5% alcohol,
Which is normal.
I guess.
That's what
I'm a
your Bud
lightweight.
Light was, and well, I don't know about your Carl's, whatever that one was. What was it?
What was the old deal
Carlsbad?
with 3-2 beers?
That was like Iowa and states of that nature. That was the only way you could. That was their liquor law.
So it was lighter.
Yeah, it was. It had hardly. I don't know what the ratio was, but I know it was very light on alcohol. It was like near. That's what they would call near
Near
beer.
beer, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
to wrap this up, I'm gonna finish this six. It was $12. I guess
yeah,
with inflation,
that's the only. No, it's just these smaller
small
companies.
batch stuff.
Yeah, God, Lord, it's so expensive.
Anyway, so I'm going to finish this six pack. I had a six pack of Yingling in my refrigerator for 3 months. I never finished it. So
Ooh.
just to give you an idea how much beer, I don't drink that much beer, but this is very refreshing. It's light. I don't think I would. This would not be my go-to because I like a little bit more flavor, I guess is the
Yeah.
word.
Well, then you need to go probably Western IPA.
I don't know. But this reminds me in cigar terminology, this would be a Connecticut wrapper on a cigar. And that's usually when you
Is that
start smoking.
M&M?
No, when you start
Oh,
smoking cigars, you always kind of start off with a Connecticut wrapper, and that's the light banded, almost like vanilla looking wrapper. And then as you get seasoned and older, you go toward more medium, full bodied cigars, the darker ones,
I
Maduro.
always go with a cigarello.
Do you offer a woman a have a Tampa? Is that that commercial was?
Ooh. Would you
It is
stop making
delightful.
those noises when you drink?
All right, moving on. So that's our beer. That's the what do we call this thing? IPA? No, it's a
Yeah.
cream ale.
Well, cream ale. That's true. It
I
isn't
like
an
that in the
IPA.
text. You said figures you'd get something with cream in it.
That's the word that got you over the. Yeah, and to be
Well,
honest with
no,
you,
when I picked it out, I was like, I can't tell Woody this because he's going to say something about the cream.
the
It's going down pretty good though.
it is. I will say probably 80% of alcohol marketing is about the packaging.
That's what she said.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, have another beer. I remember my first killer whale, Dave.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's a mammal. Going back to your boardroom thing, it's a mammal that lives in the sea. We agree to that. And it's from Jacksonville.
Well, it lives in
Ocean.
SeaWorld too.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't recall ever seeing a killer whale off the coast of Florida, except for
Mm,
SeaWorld.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I don't know.
They just like, well, I said it's about marketing, so they like that name, killer whale.
Killer whale, man.
Yeah, it's better than like sperm whale. I
Or
don't think that would market it too well. In the boardroom,
oh, I got a righteous six pack of some sperm whale for the night. Woo.
the first guy in the boardroom's like, I'm going to say sperm whale. That's how they ended up with killer whale. They're like, what?
Yeah, now we got a humpback,
Yeah.
beluga. Get yourself a case of beluga.
Blue whale beer.
I don't know. Killer whale just
That plays, it markets
It's
well.
it's cool, I
So
guess.
yeah.
It's actually very tasty. So I would give this a recommendation for a hot summer day, night, or morning. Doesn't matter.
What score are you giving it?
Man, we should do this. Is this going to be out of 10 or 5? I don't like tens. It's too high. It's too many numbers.
What? I was going to go out of 100.
What about 7?
How about 10,000?
No, seriously, what are we going to? That's about 4,500, give or take. No, seriously, what's our scale? 'Cause
Yeah, let's go
this could be
10. It
like
gives
that
you
pizza guy.
it gives you some room to
So
move.
ten's good. Excellent.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
What are you, professional
Knocking my
wine
palate there.
sampler?
Hold on. Let me get one more little
Oh,
swish around.
people, you don't understand how fast he's drinking this beer. This show is going to go downhill in a hurry.
No, I'm like a bear on a
You're
tricycle.
like a killer. You're like
This
a killer whale.
this cup
Drink.
looks tiny in my hands. Um,
By the way, it's our Sigma Chi 50th anniversary cup you have
I
there.
know. Isn't that cool
You-
for our brothers out there
Yeah.
who give a darn? I
Who
paid six
attended?
thousand dollars for this cup.
What?
Wasn't it about that much money?
Yeah.
By the time we were all in,
Oh, I
the
thought you
time
meant
I had to go to jail, that was about
yeah,
6 grand.
yeah. That includes your bail money. Okay.
The little drive around by 33rd Street. Let's see. So I'd give it a 7.
All right.
On a hot summer day, I'd give it a seven and a
How
half.
about on a cold winter day?
Eh,
6.5.
yeah, it loses a little
You
bit.
know, to be honest with you, I don't like drinking beer in cold weather. I will say that. I'll do it, but it's not my
Are
preferred.
you a brown liquor guy in cold weather?
Most of the time I'm a brown liquor guy, although I've taken a shining to Tito's vodka lately.
Seems like it's very trendy.
It is, but it's
All the
very
girls like
good.
that.
I enjoy it.
Is it
So
because it's handcrafted?
yeah, I like people's hands all over my
That's what it
alcohol.
says on the bottle.
I know. I think, and we can look up the ask Alexa what the best-selling alcohol in the world is.
Alcohol or
Alcohol, yeah.
alcoholic beverage?
Yeah. Or now not beverage, because she might consider mixed drinks. Just say alcohol.
Alexa, what is the best-selling alcohol in the world?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, Jack Daniels is the #1 selling alcohol.
Bull, Alexa. Yeah, contributor's a
Well, no, it was
liar.
a contributor, and he was probably.
Works for Jack Daniels.
It's kind of gassy. Sorry. Is that appropriate?
Most beer is when you drink it that fast.
Is that fast?
Yeah, I think so. We're only I gotta look. We're less okay, we're 10 minutes in.
Look at the size of this glass against me. It looks like it's a shot glass.
Yeah, we're about 10 minutes in. It was a 12-ounce can, Dave.
Yeah, that was a 12 ounce. It all fit in there too. So this isn't a pint glass. Those cheap bastards. We didn't.
What do you
This is
mean?
I was thinking it was a pint glass. This is a 12-ounce glass.
How many ounces in a pint?
Oh God, 16.
You couldn't fit 16 in there. So an English pint is the same as a pint in the United States.
Well,
Don't they use the metric system?
a fish. um, don't get me started on this. It's approximately 16 ounces.
I figured as much. I was just teasing you. Well, I shouldn't
That
even
was
said that.
delish. That went down really well. It was refreshing.
Why don't you go get another one?
Well, I think that would mess up our show.
Well, before we get too far in, do you want to update things that require a little bit of thought?
Are we talking about the market?
Yeah, your numbers.
Okay, well, just give you a heads up. The Federal Reserve came out today. Chairman, whatever that guy's name, he was pissing me off. They are sitting on their thumbs. The Fed rate is not going to change. They believe that they have influenced inflation. They've slowed it down, but they're looking for 2% employment or 2% inflation. I don't know. It's not where they want it to be, so they're not moving the rate, which is killing home buyers and killing the home building industry. And banks don't like it, but they don't
Oh,
care.
because they're not lowering it.
Well, and they say, not to make this political, but they say this is good for Trump because the economy will continue to be slow, as long as the rate, and they're looking for a rate change in November if there's going
It's
to be.
not still the same chairman that was under Trump.
Chairman Powell. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know how long
No, it's not a presidential electing thing. The Federal Reserve is its own deal.
Yeah, I know that, but I thought you appointed somebody and had to be voted. The Senate brought him in.
I don't think so.
I don't. I
Oh,
think you're
hold on.
right. I think you're right.
Alexa, how do they appoint a Federal Reserve chairperson?
Sorry, I don't know that.
Yeah. Well, neither do we.
Alexa, how does the Federal Reserve appoint a chairperson?
Sorry, I don't have an answer for that.
I will say, and to be honest with you, it's never really one person.
No, there's
It's
12 banks and one person is the chair.
But there's also a contingent of
Well,
finance people that
yeah,
weigh
they're all,
in. It's a
yeah,
board. Yeah.
yeah, it's a board of 12 banks.
Yeah.
Hold on. How does the Federal Reserve nominate a chairperson?
Well, first they try Herman
Oh,
Miller
you're
chairs.
right. As stipulated by the Banking Act of, oh, I'm supposed to know this, of 1935, the president may designate to serve as chairman of the board for 4-year terms. No, hold on.
Now that can't
The
be the same
president may
position.
designate to serve. This is the president of the chair of the
Oh,
as chairman of the board for 4-year terms with the advice and consent of the Senate from among sitting governors. The Senate committee is responsible for vetting the Federal Reserve chair. So the Senate
there
puts
you
him
go.
up,
Yeah.
or her, or whoever it
Yeah.
is.
I don't think we've had a female, have we?
Yeah, that was that blonde.
Yellen?
Yeah, she's an idiot.
Yellen? Hey, wait everybody to use an idiot. If
She's
they
an
don't make
a-hole.
if they don't make you money, they're an idiot.
No, I don't believe in the Federal Reserve.
The only tool they
Centralized
have
bank.
is the interest rate, anyhow. That's the only thing left in the.
No, they do some other stuff, but let's not get into that. It's boring stuff. All right. So what was I talking about? We talked about the beer. Oh, anyway, I was talking about the stock. So I am sitting currently at $3,500 invested, $3,500, and we've crept up.
I thought you were up to 4,500.
No, I'm getting ready to make it 4,000 though,
Huh.
but I'm going to wait till tomorrow and see what it does after today's news.
Well, the
Anyway,
news is
so
already. What time did they announce the news? It was
at
before the
midday,
market closed.
it hasn't
Yeah.
totally absorbed it all. So we should see something sell off if it's going to happen tomorrow or not, but we'll see. Anyway, so I'm sitting at, as of today's close, $4,328, which is a $828 gain, and that represents 23.65% return. Now, I'm outpacing the Fortune 500, which is, you could buy the market. Is it the Fortune 500?
S&P 500.
I need to look at that, but there's one of those.
There's a fund that tracks
know,
each one of those.
Yeah, I can't remember what I was paralleling myself to, but anyway, I'm outpacing that stuff, but barely. I have a new thing. Let me cover this real quick, and we'll be on our way. So I'm in the stocks that are not penny stocks per se, but they're above $1, and some of them are all the way up to $5. So the three I'm in right now are a thing called Black Sky, and Black Sky is a satellite company that like a Google, but they work for defense contractors. So I'm into the defense money. They do satellite pit flyovers for bases and enemy campaigns and that sort of stuff. And then there's another one called PL. What the hell is PL?
Profit and loss.
Planet. It's another satellite. It's another defense contractor. So I'm really overstacked in this stuff. PL. I can't remember the name of it.
I'm making faces because there's the satellite industry, because of its
I should know this. PL.
cost to enter the market, has very little players. So I wonder if these companies develop technology that rides on satellites.
Well, Planet Labs. Planet Labs is one of them, and they're actually doing pretty well. Black Sky is a group that's taken a beating, basically. And then Nerdy. And Nerdy is kind of a success story. Let me tell you about this. Nerdy is a company who sells educational websites, tutorial products for people that homeschool their kids, or they want to take a crash course in a college course. They can sign on to Nerdy, and they can get all kinds of tutorials.
Yeah, you've been in this for a while, haven't you?
Well, so what I started to do was watch them, and I realized, as a salesperson, when would I start making sales if I worked for this company? Well, guess what? they better have all their sales in before the school year starts, right? They got to go out and talk to the different school districts and get them on board before the school year starts. So it's been tanking. And what I'm learning about this, $1.87 this particular stock is right now. What I'm learning is the market is a place for public financing, right? So if you
Yeah, I
have a
was like,
company,
why would they need public financing? Is what I would like. Go ahead. It didn't make
everybody
sense.
needs financing. So
Well, come on,
so
not
there's a
at that
certain
degree.
hold on, there's a certain level of company that is selling their story. They're not really trading on fundamentals. When you get to be Walmart or Xerox or
Well,
whatever.
that was what the late 90s was with the internet bubble, right? They were selling stories.
Well, but the, this size stock, what I'm learning is they'll short it into oblivion, and then suddenly they come out with a great story, and all their insiders, like their
Oh, I wonder
CEOs,
why.
well, they're in the public announcements, they're buying 500,000 shares. The CEO
Right.
just bought 500,000 shares of this, and people are jumping in. Well, it's also the time before they start selling to school districts, and so lo and behold, all the public press releases are coming out that they've signed up a school district in St. Louis, a school district here, a school district there, and sales are kicking in, and this thing's turned around. So I've been buying this stuff for the last several months. I think I'm in it for about, no, let's see, I'm in it 700 shares. So it's not, I mean, it's not a ton of money, but here's what I've done a little bit differently. I was setting them at like, I would set it at a sell rate for 5% return. And as the thing would dive, I kept buying all the way down because I'm a little bit of a contrarian. And so the idea was every time I bought when it would go cheaper, I would get what's called dollar cost averaging.
You get what's called broke.
No, dollar cost averaging.
I know, I'm just teasing you.
And so for every share I bought less, it lowered my cost of shares, of the price. And so instead of when I sell at 5%, it would be turning around. It's now booked at it would sell at roughly 35%, whatever. But then I started thinking, if this is a game they're playing, I'm just going to try something. And this whole thing in the very beginning wasn't based on my buy and hold strategy like I've done for years. We're going to play around with it. So I wanted to introduce buy and hold back into this concept. So here's what I did. I looked at the 5-year price range of the stock. Okay. And I said, I need a system. I need a system that I can apply to each one of these. And so I took the highest price point in 5 years and I discounted it by 80%. I don't know, that number came up. I was figuring inflation. We'll call it whatever it is. We'll just call it inflation. So I would multiply times 0.80. And then I took that, whatever that number was, and broke it in half. And that became my sale price. And so now nerdy, I bought it at like $1.80 something, or my average stock price is $1.80 per share. And now I've got it set up for selling at $5.35. And so
Should it get there?
I just put a limit order in based on either canceled or sold for $5.35. And it's good in place until November 15th. I can change it after that. But what it allowed me to do is reintroduce my buy and hold instead of me trying to time things. I just don't like the timing thing. I don't think it makes sense. And it allowed me some appreciation instead of turning and churning so much. So, we'll see how it does. A couple of them are moving. And if this works, then I can apply that system to other things in this same space and just keep looking for ones that are on the
Well,
downhill and looking to turn around.
what date are we going to evaluate your return as?
September. So I started this thing in September of 2023.
All
I'll
right.
look at the initial investment date. It was like
Because
September.
I'm still predicting an exiguous return.
Exiguous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's in excess of your prediction.
No. Word of the week, folks.
Exiguous or exiguous?
Exiguous.
Is there a G in there? Exiguous?
Yeah, it's Exiguaus.
So X means
A way out.
yeah, exiguous.
Exiguous.
Alexa, define exiguous.
As a verb, exhibit is usually defined as to offer or expose to view.
I swear
stop.
she has no concept of your accent.
Alexa, define exiguous.
As a verb, exhibit is usually defined as
Oh.
to offer
Alexa,
or
stop.
expose to.
Get someone new next week.
How do I spell this thing? I'm never going to be able to make it all the way through it. Here, you
Here,
spell
I'll do.
it.
I'll do it. I'll do it. Hold her up to the speaker.
Yeah, go.
Alexa, define exiguous.
The adjective exiguous is usually defined as scanty, meager, small, slender.
There you go.
Is that my return, you said?
Yes, I said you. I still predict you have an exiguous return.
Slender.
Overmorrow, you will have an exiguous return.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something?
Yeah. So you're going to use that word? Like there's an exiguous amount of beer left in your glass.
Very, very exiguous.
It says very small in size or amount. Now, we could apply that adjective to many more attributes of Dave Theus, but I'll refrain from that.
Yeah.
Brain size, people. Come on. It's a family
right.
show, for
I'm
goodness
glad I'm
sakes.
the one that's drinking. Okay.
Did you say our scientists met Einstein?
I think they were close friends.
You know, it is, you know.
Alexa, when did Einstein? Oh, God.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah. No. Let's see what she says. Hold on.
Albert Einstein was born on March 14, 1879, in Ulm, Germany, and died on April 18, 1955.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, I know. I think our scientist was not even a glimmer in his dad's
Alexa,
eye
stop.
in
He
1955.
was at Princeton, and
Yeah.
Steve was at Rutgers.
Okay.
Is that anywhere close?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both New Jersey.
But 1954. I don't think Stephen was around
55 there, champ.
Whatever.
It's been 10 seconds. You already forgot the day. That's something I would do.
Pat Kelly, weigh in.
Please. Speaking of Pat Kelly.
Oh, what do you got, Patrick? I mean, Woody.
He's not here. But he did drop us a note, I believe, right?
He sent us an email? We got a bunch of emails, by the way.
You know what I found weird? Okay, so I don't know if he was trying to get in on the fun. I got to find it. Oh, here we go. He said, I'm stopping at the post office as I do every morning on my way into the office. What's going on there, Pat?
I think he's old.
You picking up the stamp? Are you the guy who goes in and looks for the new stamp every morning? And
he's the first guy at Publix at 7. And he's got that little...
First he walks the mall before it opens. You know, you can walk through the inside. Cool. Yeah, exactly. You can walk through the inside.
And no one will see him in those New Balances.
That's right.
You know, wait a minute. Before we get ourselves in trouble, Pat Kelly is probably the most fashion-forward guy I know. I mean, the guy looks good.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I didn't recognize him.
He pulls it off. He's I don't know if he's trendy or not, but
I wouldn't know trendy if it hit me in the face.
I know.
So.
But he's a flashy guy, you know, and he's handsome. He's a good-looking fellow. Funny.
Oh boy, I have
another beer, Dave. Going on for him over there, Patrick. No, he's a great guy, but you think he does the mall thing?
I'm just saying, why do you stop at the post? I'm not drinking.
Have another beer.
The post office every morning.
Well, you think it's the post office, then straight over to the bank?
Yeah, so, yeah, in downtown Mayberry. But anyhow, he brought up an interesting question. It's one I deal with myself on a regular basis, and that is when you're walking into an establishment that doesn't have automatic doors, right? You got to open the door manually, and you tend to look behind you to see if anybody's coming, right? So should I, so that you could hold the door for somebody. And the question, there's that sweet spot. It's always easy if they're right behind you, literally on your heels. You can step away, let them go through, or
hold on. So I'm assuming the door is one of those things you pull out. You pull it towards you.
That's what I said when I said you had to pull the door open.
Okay, but my question is, do you continue walking through it with your arm extended behind you to hold it, or do you stop and come outside?
Well, that's what I said. Here's if they're right on your heels, I because I don't like people behind me, that close behind me. Yeah, I know.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. I'm not paid in arrears like you are, Dave. But
You got it in, man.
yeah, I do.
Oh, bump.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of someone right behind me. So if someone's close, I open a door and step and let them go through so that I can
Then you
then
can be behind them.
behind them. Exactly. So they're not going to sneak up and attack Woodrow here at a place. And then there's the other side of the window where they're obviously far enough away that holding the door would seem it would look a
What's the
little
time
weird.
limit?
Well, I don't know if it's a time limit. It's more of a distance to me, you kind of, but then there's that window where they're in between those two
Thought we're talking
things.
about
And it's
doors.
like, what do you do? So basically, if you're a good looking lady, I'll stay and hold the door
No,
open for
that's just so obvious.
you. No, but when they're far away, that's when I'll go in and hold the door open because that signals to them to hurry up,
Hmm.
right?
I'm willing to go out and do something for you, but
Yeah.
you're gonna have to meet me
You're gonna have
halfway.
to, yeah, you're gonna have to step it up a little bit because I'm in an awkward position.
Okay, this question for Pat, because I think Pat could do this and pull it off. Pat or Patrick? I think he goes by
Whatever
Patrick.
you want.
He's not here.
Yeah.
All right, so Pat, do you say something witty when you're holding the door? I do.
Oh, I do too, all the
Like,
time, and it
what do you
annoys the
say?
hell out of my
What
kids
do what do
too.
you say?
Whatever the moment, you know, I'll say the old line, tickle your ass with a feather,
Oh, stop! Come on,
and they
you
say
don't
what?
say this weather. It's just incredibly hot. No, I always say like if I'm at Panera holding the door, and I'll say thank you for shopping at Panera, or I'll say pick it up. I ain't got all day. It depends on who they are. If it's like an old
Right,
couple, and you could tell if I said something stupid and it made them trip and fall, then I would feel bad about it.
right.
I would typically say, take your time. We got all day. I mean, all of us are dying slowly. Or I would say, thanks for shopping at Panera. Just kind of get
That's your
conversation.
line every day, no matter what store you're at. You
No,
say,
I substitute like Kohl's
oh,
or
okay. Kohl's has automatic doors, do they not?
not all of them. And you can't do that at J.C. Penney anymore because apparently they're closing all the J.C. Penney's. So you
Are
better
they?
get out there.
Yes, they are finally.
Jacques
Yeah,
Penney.
but
Anyway, so what's our finding? Because Patrick is on the edge of his seat. He wants an answer. What do we do?
like I said, if there's that window where they're right on your heels, of course you do it. If they're I guess you'd use time limit, 3 seconds, two, but there is that. So what I do is I give the glance back maybe 5 steps from the door to get a sense of my surroundings, right? Do I have someone coming in? And if they're in that window where it's very uncomfortable, then I never look back. I open a door like I didn't even look. That way they can't be mad at me. I didn't look. But if you make
But
eye
you
contact,
knew they were there.
but they don't know I know they were there.
I was just gonna say, have you ever had the situation where you're going through and the guy he just blanks? You catch door right in the face, and you're like, okay, I see, okay. I mean, you couldn't hold it. I've done that before.
I work when I was in wireless, right? My work location is a very secure facility in terms of the brains of the network were
They got a
there.
man
So
trap, don't they?
yeah. Well, what?
A man trap. It's like a storm door where you walk in, you have to get buzzed into that, then they hold you in this little room. That door shuts behind you, then they buzz you again to get into the controlled area. It's called a man trap.
No, we had singular doors, but we weren't allowed to let people piggyback, meaning
Oh, so that one person could enter.
and you weren't allowed to hold the door for somebody.
What was that movie? There Can Only Be One.
You want to nail that down? Thunderdome? I don't know.
That's kind of like this. The guy with the broadsword. They're from Scotland. They're trying to catch each other and kill each other. There can only be one. All right, keep talking. I'll find it.
With Mel Gibson,
No, it was the guy before him.
which was in Thunderdome. Isn't that ironic? But so anyhow,
Movie quote: "There can only be one." Connor McLeod, Highlander.
Wow.
There can only be one is the belief and motto among the immortals in the original Highlander film. Its sequel and spin-offs, it implies that all immortals must fight and kill one another until only one remains. It has nothing to do with holding doors.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you messed up. It's the
So
killer.
anyhow, if I glance back and you're in my periphery, then I'm going to hold the door for you. But the trick is to do that look before you get to do. You could use a reflection in the glass too.
Uh-huh.
That works as well. If there's a nice sunny day or something like that where you get a good reflection, you can use that. But once you make on, if you make eye contact, you're holding the door. I don't care if they're 5 minutes out.
Have you ever had a situation where you go to hold the door and you look back and the person goes, "Oh no, it's okay. I got this," or they get a call or their shoes untied, and you look back, you're holding the door and that they've stopped. Maybe they're having that moment where they don't want to be around you, but they don't know how to convey it, and so they stop short, and now you're stuck holding the door, and they're like, "I don't want to be a part
Usually
of
what
this."
I do is I wait until they're done tying the shoe, and as they enter the door, I close it real quick.
Psych.
Yeah. Because they psyched me out with the shoe tie
Snooze,
move.
you lose there, lady.
That's right.
I usually just kind of push them, knock them over at that point.
That's the easy way to go with the older people. And then they usually black out and don't remember. So
That's good, kiddos. Write that down.
then I come out and help them up and I ask for money for helping out.
Yeah.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah, that's not a good thing that we're doing there.
All
All right.
right.
Well, I hope Pat Kelly, that's a great listener engagement on your part, and we appreciate you chiming in. Whew.
That was pretty
Any other great ideas? Just keep them to yourself.
You didn't talk about why you're drinking beer.
My self-esteem? No. Did I have a reason? Was I supposed to talk about that?
You told me there was a reason.
Oh, and this because I was bored.
Yeah, well, you're on a new agenda these days.
Oh,
right?
so Tuesday, I'm off of teaching. I had the summer off, and so I got a couple things going on. Like yesterday was a full day for me, working, doing many things, and then today, not so much. Went out for lunch today. I had a Cuban
What time did you
sandwich.
get up? What time did you get up?
I can't. I get up every day at like 10. No, I get up at
Yeah. First class is at 9. I got up at 10.
my wife leaves at 6. I got up at 7 o'clock this morning. It's hard not to. My wake up schedule. I was up till like 1 o'clock in the morning though. My Facebook on my laptop on my desktop has kicked me out, and I can't figure out how to get back in. I can't remember the passwords and all that stuff. Anyway, so what's the point of this? So Tuesday I was bored out of my gourd, and so we have a Winn-Dixie not too far from our house, and I was going to go to lunch, buy lunch somewhere, and then I just felt this cheap moment come over me, and I was like, I'm not going somewhere to spend $20 for lunch. I'm just going to go to Winn-Dixie, grab something, and go back home. And so I literally did 2 or 3 laps. You know how you get that system where you go one certain way, and then
Yeah.
I did 3 laps of the store, and finally ended up in front of the beer aisle. And
Good choice.
I sent you a text, and I think the text was something along the line. I'm
You
bored.
just said I'm bored, and you sent me a picture of the beer aisle. I didn't know what I was supposed to make of that.
Yeah, I said I got to get myself a plan.
So.
And so you went on and said, get something local, get an IP.
Yeah, we talked about this. IPA, Dave.
Whatever. I always go by the cooler because it's cool. When you come in out of the store, it's hot, and I always like to go to the beer cooler and sweat. But I don't.
Most
buy
people do
beer.
the milk and cheese aisles, but
Yeah, I saw some kid sitting on the thing the other day. I wanted to rip him off the cooler.
he was a worker,
No, it was some kid and his
a
mom.
grifter.
Yeah, he was just sitting with his cheeks on the cooler at the deli. I'm like, come on.
Like with his pants down. He was just cleaning the undercarriage, Dave. Come on.
His pants down? How did you get to that?
Well, you said his cheeks were on the cooler.
I don't know what. No, he was fully clothed.
Okay, thankfully. All right. That makes more sense.
What
Now
you
you
said
put it
is
that
like,
way.
could it be true? I hope so. Anyway, so so Woody came up with a good idea. He said, "Why don't you buy some beer?" And I don't drink beer. I really rarely do, but I said, "Oh, I'll look around and see what I got here."
I
Okay,
encourage most people to drink.
I'm getting that. I'm picking up on that.
Yeah.
I'm picking up what you're laying down. But this was a good choice. I will finish this six pack. I've got two of them gone now, so that gives you the pace I'm at. I did this on Tuesday. Today is Thursday, right?
Thursday. So it took you an overmorrow. Nah, that doesn't work
Yeah,
either.
it does.
Took you 2 days.
It took me a
So,
fortnight. It took
mm.
me 2 days to get two down. So I don't drink a lot. Like I said, I had a six pack of Yingling in my cooler in my fridge for.
You drink scotch though, don't you, or
Ooh,
something?
ooh,
Oof.
yeah,
Hoo-yah.
that goes down
Oh,
pretty
boy.
good. Oh boy. I had the bourbon the other night, and for the life of me,
Oh,
Woody,
the one you got from
Fidello,
Alan. Yeah.
I cannot fathom the rate that we were consuming those 2 nights in Orlando because I have this little cup that I use when I'm out there smoking a cigar, and I had two over rocks, and
That's a lot.
I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to make it back in the house. I mean,
Blotto.
I was okay, but there's no,
Yeah.
I can't even fathom how because
I
we had
think
more
when
than two.
I think when you're up, you're having fun, you're active, you don't really the body doesn't not it absorbs the alcohol, obviously, but your psyche doesn't notice it. You're just having fun, whereas you're just sitting in a chair smoking a cigar.
I don't know. I'm fortunate, and I know we're carrying on being a little silly about this tonight, and I want to set the record straight for my listeners who might be concerned about my well being. I don't consume anywhere near what I used to when we were in college. In fact, very rarely. But I do enjoy a bourbon every once in a while. Usually 3 or 4 nights
I
a
couldn't
week.
imagine. I can't imagine. Yeah, I can't imagine owning a liquor store like
Oh God,
Ellen does. Uh,
I couldn't do it. I couldn't own a cigar
well,
shop, and I couldn't own a liquor store.
that is one of the reasons well, it's not one of the reasons because I wasn't that smart then, but one of the reasons I'm glad. One of my initial things I was going to do out of college was work concerts, right, as a sound
Yeah.
man for concerts. But there's no way I would have been an alcoholic or a drug addict at some point in that industry, just because of how it operates. Being
Accessible.
around it in the periphery I was, and it's nothing but a party every single night.
Well,
So,
it literally changed for me. I can remember, I don't know what day it was, but I remember the
but
incident.
it's been 365 days sober. What's your coin? What day does your coin say, Dave?
A chip. It's a chip. No, so I remember I was in the furniture business and I had Wednesdays and whatever schedule I'd put together, I had Wednesdays off. And Wednesdays at the Monty's, which used to be called Monty's in Riverside, was 2 for 1 night. And
At
my
least you were frugal with your drinking.
well, the compound that my roommate left his charge card with me and said, "Just settle up and get out of here." And I'm like, "Okay." And I'm like, "Hey, we got Jeff's
Oh, so
card."
this is one specific night. Okay, I get you.
Yeah,
All right.
and so we continued to drink 2 for 1s, and I was, you know, blotto. And so I got a phone call Thursday morning from my office saying, "You got to get in here." The principal, the dealer that was in Jacksonville that I worked with, had screwed up a deal.
Uh,
He misquoted something, and he had to figure out a way to go tell the client that we need another $25,000.
oh,
Yeah. So,
yeah,
and it was his fault. And
yeah.
so I got up, and I'm sure I was inebriated at the time, and I drove into the office. So there's not a good story to tell, but I had sunglasses on because I couldn't navigate the light. And at that
Uh,
moment I said, I can't do this.
all right.
This is not going to be a part of my future. This is not healthy. It's not productive. And I couldn't, it just screwed me up.
I
there
never
was
really
I
had a
wasn't
moment like that because I don't think I never drank alone
oh,
for
everyone
one.
says that.
I do now because I drink when I watch when I watch sporting events. I like to have a drink. So,
A drink.
well, a couple of drinks.
No, I don't have anything.
Possibly.
I don't have anything against people doing it. It's just for me, I just didn't like the waste of time. The recovery for me was a big waste of time, and I don't like wasting time. I like to be fully functional. And the other thing is, once you get married and have kids, I'm sure you
Yeah.
experience this.
Well, I stopped at that
Well,
point.
I did too, and I went through this fear factor, like, oh my God, something's going to happen, and one of us is going to have to get to the hospital, and I'm going to have to take him to the hospital. They're going to pull me over, go, Mr. Theus, you've been drinking. I'm going to go, yeah, but we got to get to the hospital, and I just couldn't. Or I was going to
Yeah.
be driving around with one of my daughter's friends in the car. We would be
Yeah.
going somewhere to the beach or something,
Yeah.
all of us. I just
No,
couldn't.
I was pretty much maybe at events and have a beer or two, but no, I was more, I didn't want to, until they were older, I didn't want to exhibit a behavior that's
Precisely.
could be seen, not it could be seen and they could emulate later in life or something like that.
Yeah,
So,
it's called growing up.
yeah. Disney, when I worked for them, had a rule you couldn't come to work hungover.
That seems appropriate.
Yeah.
You could get there and get inebriated, but you couldn't come in drunk.
You weren't supposed to come in hung over because you were still, in their eyes, you were still drunk.
Well, it probably was a downer to the guest experience.
Yeah, when you throw up on them.
But when Bluto becomes Blotto, Pluto becomes Blotto.
Yeah, we heard you first time, Dave.
I know.
Hey, listen, we got a few minutes left tonight. Actually, we got about 15 minutes left.
Did we cover
And
everything?
well, no, I stumbled across someone listed like the top 50 Stephen Wright lines. And for those who don't know Stephen Wright, he was a one-line comic, right? A one-liner comic, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know how to classify him. He was interesting.
Bizarre.
He's still alive, probably.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I want to hear the story. I have one of his. I saw him in Orlando.
I was gonna say, why don't you tell us about your I never saw him live, but I enjoyed him thoroughly in his heyday.
So I told you this before. I cannot tell a joke. I think
Either do
funny
I.
stories, but I cannot. I just
Yeah.
screw them up. But we went to see him in Orlando before the big theater, before the big arenas and stuff, and it was called um, it was the old Civic Center Theater, the old one, Orlando. I think the orchestra plays there now. I can't remember the name of the thing, but anyway.
Yeah, you're right. You don't know how to tell a joke.
Well, that's not the joke, but
Oh.
so he was telling, I think it was one of his more famous bits, but he basically had this joke. And if you don't know Stephen Wright, I suggest you look him up.
Very dry humor,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, dry is the understatement of the year about it. Almost to the point of you couldn't understand him. It was
Right.
more so than Steve Martin, the whole deal. You thought something was wrong with him. But he did this joke where he said that he lived his house. He lived in a median of a highway, and so if right off the bat you're kind of caught off guard. Wait a minute, your house is in the median of a
Right.
highway. And the way he would set the premise was he would say something kind of weird to get you in this kind of, what's he talking about? And then it would develop from the nuances of living in a median, like I have to get up to 60 miles an hour to get out of my driveway, or getting home at night is really a sharp turn,
Right.
So all those, I think that was the way he built the joke, was he would come up with some kind of bizarre setup.
And then make a bunch of one-liners
Yeah.
with
And
that
it was
premise.
effective. It was hilarious. But
Yeah, the one I told for years, it was that I got home one night and I put my car keys in the door lock. And he goes, so I took my house for a drive around the block.
Yeah.
I parked at the Walmart and told everybody to get out of my driveway.
Yeah. You kind of have to, it's one of those you had to be there kind of things, because he delivered it in such a way.
He panned it. Yeah, it was very, I don't know how to, you're right. It's a very hard definition of his style. But
yeah.
So anyhow, I picked out of the 50, I picked out like 10 that I thought were very good ones. And the last one I get to is one everybody.
You're not going to read 50 of them, are you?
No, I said I picked out ones I thought were exceptional.
Yeah.
So the first one, he said I'd kill for a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah. That's
You know who the Nobel Peace, well, not who it's named after, but did you know what Nobel was infamous for?
He's from Norway or Sweden, wasn't he?
No, yeah, well, I assume so, yes, since it's in Oslo. But you know what he invented?
Mercury or the
You
atomic
mean an
bomb.
element? He invented an element, Dave. Okay, yeah. No, he created TNT, gunpowder.
Explosives, gunpowder.
Yeah. So isn't that it's ironic
Peace.
that the Peace Prize is named after?
Yeah, but everything has a Nobel now. You can be an economist and get a Nobel, all kinds of stuff. But
Yeah, as
yeah,
long as it leads to peace, something that helps with peace.
Barack Obama got one.
So did who's the one that was really questionable recently? Hmm, Putin didn't get one, did he?
I don't know. It's $1 million.
No, it's one of it was another world
It's
leader.
a big coin and it's $1 million.
So,
All right, go ahead.
number two, if you need to borrow money, borrow it from a pessimist. They don't expect it back.
Uh-huh.
Hey, you can do this after every joke. You're gonna help
No,
me.
but you and I aren't blessed with the gift, but no, these are good because I can see him doing this. These are
All
good.
right. All right. 82.7% of all statistics are made up on the spot because they are, people make I love people. If you ask people to provide you,
Yeah, yeah.
like how much on average do you spend on groceries? Most people will just, it's made up when it's like, oh, $35. It's like, no, if you really knew, it'd be 35 and change or
Yeah.
34 and change, not 35 on the spot. It's the other way with statistics, right? If someone gives you a spot on statistic, it's presumed to be made up.
I think that's the joke. All right, keep going.
Uh, I almost had a psychic for a girlfriend, but she let me know before we met.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I screwed up the joke, but she left me before we met.
Yeah.
All right. No?
No,
Uh-oh.
no, I,
I
I love all these. It's just he's not a guy that you can take his material and deliver,
I know,
It's
but I'm looking for a little help here, Dave, baby.
okay. I'll throw you a bone, as it were. Go ahead.
Okay. Uh, what's the speed of dark?
Versus the speed of
I
light.
mean, like,
That's a
yeah,
good one.
yeah, yeah. Thanks for bailing me out. Uh, how do you tell when you're out of invisible ink?
Yeah, that's yeah.
Now you're just patronizing me, Dave.
I am a little bit, but that one's. I guess the older you get with him,
This
the
is the one I like. This is one I like. This is one of my favorites. I intend to live forever. So far, so good.
yeah, that's him.
All right. Well, all of these are him, Dave.
No, I
That's
know, but
kind of where I was going when I said this is the top 50 of Stephen Wright lines.
I think we're doing him right now. Go ahead.
Are we? Okay. Uh, what happens if you get scared half to death twice?
That's definitely him.
Mhm. I like I do like this. This is another of the favorites. These are my top favorites. My mechanic told me I couldn't repair your brakes, so I made your horn louder.
That one's good.
Back when I used to work on cars a lot, people would say, my car's making this noise. I'm like, okay, what noise does it make? And they'd make it. And then I say, oh, I know what it is. And we get in the car and I'd say, turn on the car. And then I turn the radio up as loud as it would go. I said, do you hear it now?
Not so
Fixed.
much.
It's fixed. This one's kind of experience is something you don't get until just after you need it.
Yeah.
And this one is kind of keen. To steal ideas from one person is plagiarism. To steal from many is research.
Yeah. See, I think he was a thinking man's comic.
Yes.
And I think he was, I want to speak in past tense about him because I think he's still alive, but I think he probably smoked a lot of pot too. I don't know, but I think he spent a lot of time thinking stuff and then he just wrote it down. Was probably stuff that we never, that most people don't think about.
Well,
I don't know.
that's kind of how. And then the last one is one I've heard forever. That it just like I said, only intelligent person come up. It said if your car could travel at the speed of light, would your headlights work? And that's one that has been debated over the years since he gave that line out.
Yeah, I can remember that conversation about which
Yeah,
would get there first, the light from the. Yeah, I don't know. Let's get Dr. Steve involved
yeah.
in that.
Thanks for
No,
enlightening us with that one.
that's a great top. Is that all of them?
Well, that's the ones I liked. Yeah, you'd have to go to gardencrafts.com to get is where I got them from.
Nice job of giving the reference. Good job.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to be
Keep us
I
out of
don't want to
trouble.
be plagiarizing.
Well, it's research.
That's right.
No.
Show pep.
So I saw him. He was big on Johnny Carson. Maybe he was on Letterman. I can't remember. I think he did a Johnny Carson. I've been watching a lot of Johnny Carson in my Facebook feed somewhere recently. I don't know where that's coming
Really?
from. Yeah, but he keeps showing up. And apparently, the more
Well,
I
once you
watch
do it
him,
once or twice,
yeah.
it's gonna yeah.
Some guy told me that I am the algorithm. So whatever I'm watching, it keeps feeding me.
Uh-huh.
But
That's why we've talked about this. If you read a certain angle of news, it'll keep feeding you the same angle over and over and over. And therefore you start to believe it is true.
so that's a two-way street.
Always.
Okay. So he was someone I always thought fondly of as far as a comedian, but I don't know if I would want to ever go back. There's some I don't know, once you've heard a bit, like my daughter Sarah and I were big on Regan, Brian
Brian
Regan.
Regan. Yeah.
And it seems like these comedians have their I think the internet kills them, to tell you the truth, but they have their kind of season and they come to height of their season, then they get burned out or so. I guess you just get
Well,
used
they have to go back and write new material, right?
I think the internet's the worst thing.
Well,
YouTube.
isn't it weird? You can go to a Rolling Stones concert, and all you want them to do is play the songs you've heard 4,000 times. But if you go to see a comic, you're like, hey, give me something new. I don't want to hear the same thing.
Yeah, that's interesting. That sounds like something Steve Wright would say.
Well, it was the next one.
No, that's true because you don't want to. Yeah.
Well, you know what? We only don't think too much because it's bread slicing night here in the Woody household, and we only have 2 minutes left.
Do you have a machine or do you use a
No, no, no. That's a waste of money using a machine. I mean, that's why we do it to save money. You know how much money you can save per loaf of bread if you buy it unsliced?
Oh, so you're saying you buy loaves or
Uh-huh.
make them and then you do the slicing?
Yeah, no, we buy them because we get them 3 cents cheaper loaf
Huh.
if we buy them
Do you
unsliced.
freeze bread? You ever do that?
Never works out well.
So I like English muffins. You like English muffins?
I love them. Well, it depends. How do you eat them?
I toast them.
And what do you put on it? Just nothing?
Butter.
Okay, so you use nooks and crannies to hold the butter?
Oh yeah, it's really a delivery system for butter, is what it is. My wife's like, "Do you think that's enough butter?" I'm like, "Well, not every hole
It's
full."
not soaking through the bottom yet, so no.
But
Do you go Thomas's only?
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I have to agree with you. There's not many that match up to that.
and you have to get the white bread version of it because I got the semi wheat
Yeah.
version the other day, and I was like, I think I remember
Ooh.
why I quit buying this. It sucked.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Publix has them buy one get one free, and I often think, who's buying these things at full price? Because I don't. And so they're like $5.65 for a carton of six, I guess comes in those things. But
Yeah, I think so.
I drive right past them. And so when they go on buy one, get one free, I buy four. So I buy so this goes directly against my buying a gallon of milk and taking a gallon of milk home. But I buy two of them and get two free. So I walk out of there with four of them and I put them in the freezer
Okay.
and they hold up. They're
Oh.
actually better once they've
Do you
been in the
just
freezer.
let them thaw on the counter?
Yeah. So when
Or
I
do
get
you
down,
take them out frozen and put them right in the toaster?
no. So when I get down to one left, I take out a 6-pack and put it on the kitchen counter. We have an area where we keep our
And then
bread.
you get your English muffins out.
Yeah. Then I get the English muffins out. And then when I get down to the last English muffin, that means tomorrow morning is going to be the next
Ooh,
one.
it's going to be exciting the next
I
day.
break out the frozen one that night and delicately put it on the chopping board just where it's supposed to be. And that way, by the time I get up in the morning, it's very much ready for me. It's like, hi, Dave, we're ready.
Woohoo. All right. Well,
Anyway,
we did our 60 minutes, man.
that's my English muffin, and I'm sticking with it. All right. Well, I like the beer thing. Is this something we want to continue doing?
Uh,
I don't know.
I don't drink on the weekdays. It's my general rule of thumb. I know I said I drank last night, but I went out with some coworkers.
Well, maybe since it's summertime, I can do this.
Sure. If I have to.
My wife's last night, she goes, so you're going to become like an alkie now? I'm like,
Uh,
I don't think
yeah.
so.
Yeah. Hey, if it
Keep
pays the
talking to
bills,
me that way, maybe I will.
keep
No.
driving me to drink over here.
All right. Is that it?
Yeah, why don't you say goodnight?
Good night. Okay. Well, I'm Dave,
I'm Woody.
and you've listened.
Subscribe, email, all that. Sorry I
Yeah.
interrupted you.
Thanks, Pat Kelly, for weighing in. You're our only listener that gives a darn. We appreciate you so much. In hope, all that nonsense. And for you other brothers that are listening out there and wherever you're listening from, thank you very much. And I messed up. You've listened to yet another episode of We Can Help with Dave and Woody. Check us out wherever you listen to podcasts on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, wherever else. And then please subscribe on YouTube because Woody's getting his pants in a ruffle. So please check us out on YouTube and watch us there and tune in. You get to see me crack open a cold brew and pour in a nice frothy
Hey.
beverage.
Yeah.
Turkey. All right. We got to go.
All right.
All right. Love you. Peace out.